Welcome to the Roundtable. I'm Jennifer Eller, and with me today is my co-hosts and producers here, Mike Hill and Nick Wilson.
Yay for Nick Wilson.
Yeah, and with us again is Barry Mosher. So Barry was here back in April, and he was on episode 162, but he went to Cambodia on a mission trip, and so we wanted to have him back to talk about your mission trip. So, yeah,
thanks
awesome.
for having me.
You're welcome. So let's kind of talk about what made you decide you wanted to go on a mission trip. So maybe tell our listeners how that all came about.
Through my faith journey, the guy who discipled me, Ricardo, after I got baptized last May, somewhere around July or August, he says, next step in your faith journey is a mission trip. And I'm thinking, yeah, right. I don't see me being on a missions trip, especially going and actually ministering and preaching gospel and giving testimony and all the things that we did while we were in Cambodia. If I was going to go on a missions trip, it would have been, helping build a barn or something like that. And, but yeah, that was, and then ending up with, I went with an organization called Overland Missions. And how I came across them was, for whatever reason, one Friday I didn't go to a 4:20 a.m. class at the gym. I went to a 9 o'clock a.m. class at the gym. And a woman comes in who I'd never seen before. And so after class, we got to yakking. And she was trying to get a full-time ministry with Overland Missions to go to Brazil and practice and to minister down in Brazil. And I'm thinking, yeah, Brazil sounds pretty cool. I mean, she said, but it's a 22-hour boat ride from civilization. And I'm like, whoa, that's out in the rainforest.
Boat ride? Boat ride?
A speedboat ride from whatever
once
town.
you get
Okay,
there.
wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
once you get there.
Wow.
She says we're out in the middle of the rainforest. I'm thinking, well, for 2 weeks I can suck it up. I've camped before. It's not the end of the world. And but that was how I got on. She sent me to their website to check out the trips and all of that. And by the time I got there, all the trips to Brazil were full. And so I had my choice of other places that Overland goes to. They go to go to India, I believe, in the southern part of it. Several countries in Africa, and Cambodia in Southeast Asia. And I thought of all the places in the world that I don't have to risk getting my head cut off for.
Was Cambodia?
It was Cambodia. I mean, it is illegal to do what we were doing, but they kind of didn't enforce it. So.
Right.
Like we were at the school one afternoon doing games with the kids and things like that. And we had a couple of kids afternoons at various spots around the village that we were in. And kids had a really good time.
Yeah, well,
we all had a really good time.
We'll get to your stories here in a little bit. So I'm going to ask you
Okay.
some more questions to lead up to that. So,
Okay.
Yeah, so were you got a week, 10 days? How long were you gone?
Total trip length was 14 days.
Okay.
And I was in the city of Siem Reap, which is a decent-sized city. The airport's there. It's a city about the size of like Indianapolis. We were right just off of downtown. And it was a city. You had nightlife. You had street hustlers. You had wild traffic, really wild traffic in there. There's no traffic control in Cambodia. Everybody goes every which way, and it all just flows. And I don't know how it works, but it works.
Yeah.
I mean, so we spent first 2 days there, and that was in a nice hotel. Both hotels that we stayed at were really nice. Accommodations were great. The hotels had flushing toilets and showers and air conditioning, and it was almost like civilization.
Before you went, maybe this is one of your questions, Jennifer, were there expectations that you had of yourself or God before you went? Like, I'm hoping to see... Sorry if that was one of your questions.
It's okay.
If that, like, were you hoping to see God work in a certain way? Because back to why she's saying, like, why'd you go and what led up to it? And I know Ricardo said to go, but did you have any certain, like, oh, I hope God speaks to me, or I hope that...
Surprisingly, no. I was just going to see what went on.
Okay.
And, and then the more I'm talking to people, and they says, you're going to see some really amazing things, and then I'm going to grow spiritually. I'm going to grow in my faith. And I have, and it's was really a uplifting experience.
So what was like the travel experience like? Like how long did it take you to get there, and like how many countries did you have to go through? What did that look like for some of us that have never been?
The first leg of the trip there took off from O'Hare in Chicago and flew to Taiwan. That was a 16-hour flight.
Just fly on a double-decker plane?
No.
Oh, really?
It was a wide body, but, 777 was.
Did you get stuck in the middle?
In the middle of the plane?
Yeah.
Or in the middle of the...
seats.
The middle of the plane.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't in first class.
No, I know, but in those big wide bodies, there's like, 6 seats across the middle, and then like 3 on one side and 3 on the other.
Yeah. Oh, no, I was off on the side.
Oh, yeah. Because when I went to India at the one time, it was just like 18 hours on the plane, and I'm stuck in the middle.
Wow.
No, I had an aisle. I had an
I'm
aisle.
going to seriously die.
Well, on the way there, I was on a side which was 3 seats, and I was in the middle seat, and a couple comes up, and they got the seats either side of me. And he says, "You mind switching?" Not at all.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to be in between your guys' conversation. And, quite frankly, I prefer the aisle. I got long legs. I like sticking my feet out there a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it took you 16 hours to get to Taiwan.
16 hours to get to Taiwan. Had a couple-hour layover in Taiwan. Taiwan's airport is beautiful. It's like a designer mall.
It is amazing how Taiwan is high tech.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Clean.
Yeah.
Like way clean.
Yes. And then from Taiwan, I had a few-hour flight to Saigon and was in Saigon's airport for, I think, 6 hours. And this is the first time on the trip, other than the Lord got me there and got me, up to that point. But I'm sitting at the gate for 5 hours. I show up at the gate. There's nobody there. There's nothing on the monitor. There's nothing.
Because you traveled by yourself. You didn't go with the group. You met them there. Okay.
Right. And so I asked somebody from the staff, I said, showed him my ticket, am I at the right spot? He said, yeah, you're at the right spot. So the place starts filling up with people, and I'm starting to expect, how the monitor comes up of we got this flight going here, and it's loading in whatever. And, okay, babies, people in wheelchairs. Okay, we want you first. All right, zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. None of that's happening. Some guy walks in, and he did have a Cambodian Air shirt on, and he goes, Siem Reap. Another couple got up, they went over to the desk, and I'm thinking, that can't be me. And comes back in again, he goes, Siem Reap. I'm not paying any attention. This woman comes up to me, says, you've been here for a while. What are you waiting for? I says, Siem Reap. She says, that's the bus. You better get on it.
Oh, no. Really? Oh, you about missed your bus?
After sitting at the gate for 5 hours.
Oh. Yeah, that would have been a bummer.
Wow.
So how long was the bus ride?
Oh, the bus ride was just out to the tarmac because it was a turboprop plane that we took from Vietnam to Cambodia.
Wow.
Got it.
Because we were only up in the air for like an hour and a half.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So then when you landed, because then you went to Cambodia.
Right.
So what did you think was, when you got off the plane there, what was your first thoughts?
Airport in Siem Reap wasn't bad. It was small, but not bad. The traffic was just weird. There's no traffic control. We were in a van, but their main transportation is scooters. And these scooters go everywhere, and cars go in, and they're we want room between us when we're on the road. No, there's no room. Everybody's zoom, 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 zoom. If you want to pass a scooter and another scooter's coming at you, you just go for it. If there's enough road for everybody to fit, you fit.
Yeah.
It just, you get in town and there's no traffic control. You'll come up to a major intersection and there's no traffic control.
Was that your biggest culture shock? The traffic?
The traffic, probably.
Wow.
Well, traffic and, I don't know. I wasn't expecting American amenities, so.
But they're friendly, though.
Yeah.
That culture is very respectful and friendly. And
yeah. And in Siem Reap, because spent the first couple nights in Siem Reap, and English wasn't a problem there. Everybody knew enough to where you could get by. You could order food. You could ask for directions. You could,
right.
Everybody knew enough English to get by. Now, when we got out to the village, that was not the case.
Right.
But
So how far was the village then from where you originally landed for a couple of days?
about a 4-hour ride.
Okay. And so they didn't speak English?
No.
So you had to have an interpreter
Yes.
with you? Okay.
Yes. And we met up with, our group was 8. We had 2 team leaders and 6 people like me that came along. And we were from all over the place. You had me from the Midwest, a couple from Jacksonville, Florida, and a woman from Scottsdale, Arizona, and 2 guys from southern India. And we all met up there.
Can you give us a couple of your Cambodian words?
I didn't learn any of it.
Nothing. It's not like when people come home from, Spanish speaking, they're like, hola, como está, or nothing. Huh?
I didn't learn anything. It was a difficult language to pronounce, and difficult language to understand.
Yeah, my kids we were talking about it the other day, they still remember some of the Russian they learned when we were in Ukraine, because you had to learn Russian, some Russian sentences while we were there.
Oh, I was in Germany in '79, and I can still, say some things in German. Yeah.
But not...
No, I couldn't tell you how to say please or thank you in Cambodian. I can't say good morning in Cambodian. Oh, Khmer. It's not Cambodian. It's Khmer.
Khmer?
Khmer is their language, and Khmer is what they call themselves.
Oh.
And it's spelled really weird. It's Kahmer.
Before we get into the mission trip part, did you get a chance to go on tourist stuff at all?
Yes.
Like, did they take you to the killing fields?
No, they didn't take us to the killing fields, but we were on the northern part of Cambodia, right at the Thailand border, and they were setting off landmines from the war that just ended a few years ago while we were there, which wasn't in the village. It was they were.
Wasn't
out in the
it
field.
Pol Pot? That's in this.
And
Pol Pot
then we went to the Angkor temples.
Oh, you did?
Yes, in Siem Reap, and seen the tree that Angelina Jolie swung around in Temple of Doom.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
A lot of the movie was filmed on those ruins.
Yeah, I don't remember all of it, but when we were in Cambodia, I think it's Pol Pot who did the genocide in Cambodia, and you can go onto the killing fields, and they still have like huts where there are skulls like stacked up inside of like these old stone huts. It's been a lot of years ago, but it has a lot of history over there.
When I was in Germany, went to concentration camp
Did
in
you
Munich.
really?
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was off the subject.
you're
I just
fine.
didn't know if they let you go on any type of like tourism, because it's a beautiful country.
Yeah. We had to stay together.
Yeah, but I meant as a group. If you gotta go,
no, we just went to the temples.
Yeah, but it is pretty there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're at the village, like, did you stay in the village then? You didn't go back and forth.
No, we didn't go back and forth. The village was from around here would be like a town like Dunphy or Lod. And then we stayed in a town like Columbia City or Huntington, where there were hotels, restaurants, stores, things like that.
Really?
That was
So it's a pretty big city.
Yeah, about 20 minutes away.
Okay.
Wouldn't call it
That's kind of
big,
surprising.
but-
You're 20 minutes away, and there's these villages that are still
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, and it's I mean it was a dirt road village with huts and shacks and them dirt floors and all that.
What was their, because usually in the rural communities like that, is it still that their industry's farming?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're still farmers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And they plowed. Everybody seemed like had a Kubota 60.
oh, they did?
Yeah. And a Model M
Oh, wow.
all-wheel drive Kubota 60. And how we put blades on the back of our tractors, they had blades on the front of their tractors. And it hooked up by like where your loader would hook up on the frame in front of the rear wheels with a single cylinder to lift it
Right.
and drop the blade.
And is it still like rice and that kind of stuff over there? What were they?
Oh,
I mean, this is off the subject. I'm just
Yeah.
No, you're
curious.
fine.
What,
No,
what was over there?
I wanted people to kind of
what was the
know what he
name of that?
experienced.
Of course, you got to get me out of my brain.
No, it's okay. I mean,
gone.
when we were over there, there were places that had rice patties
Yeah.
still. I mean, that seems
Yeah.
like that was the traditional. Because that was fascinating to me. Because this is going to sound terrible. The only time you ever see is like on Rambo when they make people run through the rice patties and shoot them. But it
this
is
was
weird how like
was a
wet it
plant
is
that they harvested the root on. And right now, I'm drawing a blank as to what the name.
It's
of
okay,
that
but
plant
it
is.
was still farming in
Yeah.
those rural
Yep.
communities. And
Yep. And what they used for, and they did a lot of logging for what they were logging. And the hardwoods over there are really hard,
Oh, really?
really hard. Like you can't put your fingernail into it at all. It's like harder than black walnut.
Yeah, and is the religion? I mean, it's still like
Buddhist.
mysticism, Eastern,
Yeah, Buddhist.
Buddhist, type
Yep.
stuff. So, which that's a huge family thing over there, right? Like when you're,
Yeah, we
because you went in to preach
we
the gospel, but that's like a
Yeah, we came up against that a lot, especially at the beginning of the trip down there. Was that they all liked the idea of Christianity, but I've been a Buddhist my whole life. My family's a Buddhist. The whole village is most of the village was a Buddhist. Let me see what other people are doing first before I commit.
and it's not just like if you are a family member, it's kind of like Islam.
Yeah,
Buddhism is a little bit like Islam, that if you commit to Christianity, you're not welcomed in your family.
right.
So you can't just make a decision.
Yeah.
Like you can, but
Yeah,
you're making a decision, and over there, everything's so family centered. You know what I mean? So like a lot of times families live together or live close together. I don't know if that village was the same way, but
Yeah.
if you make a decision, it's like you're out.
yeah.
There's nowhere to go because the rest of the village.
It wasn't quite that bad. But
There was a Christian presence there.
yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
And one of the first places that we went to or stopped at, and we were talking to this woman and her sister-in-law, or somebody who lived in another village, and she was a Christian, and she says, if a Christian group stops by, sit and listen to them. And but she was still, she listened to us. We prayed for her. But while we're talking to her and ministering to her, and a guy goes down the road there, because we met up with people down there, and the people that we met up with knew this guy that was going down the road on. This wasn't a Kubota tractor. This is their tractors down there for hauling things are really weird. It's just an engine, a transaxle, single axle, and hooks onto a trailer with a single axle, and the only thing that holds everything up is the kingpin in between them.
That's like a two-wheel tractor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. With handlebars on it. Yeah.
They sell them in the States now.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, the Eel River has them. So you can go over there. They're two-wheel tractors.
Yeah.
They just have the two wheels, and you can flip things around on
Yeah.
them. And
But
can you talk about what church was like there? Like when they did church compared to what you're used to? Like, when you obviously went to church. They have a Christian church there?
No, we didn't.
Oh, okay.
We were so busy with activities and ministering that we didn't have time for church. We were doing 14-hour days in 100-degree heat. It was...
Yeah, I just didn't know if on a Sunday they...
And I even mentioned something to it. I says, because we're 12 hours ahead. Yeah, because Monday morning would have been Rob Hollinger's Sunday night class or Sunday night group, and I was getting up about the time that group was starting. And I says, we could, do I said, I'm going to pull it up on the phone. I says, and we can have service some evening here, Saturday evening or Monday, whatever evening. And, well, I don't think we're going to have time for it.
No.
By the time we did devotionals every morning, and then we did debriefing every evening, and did a lot of praying for everything, and there was a lot of spirituality going on.
Yeah,
a lot of energy going on, but no fixed service.
Yeah, sure.
So how many people lived in the village then? Because you said 14-hour days. So that made me think, how many people are there?
Well, the area the road that we were on, I think, had 150 houses, and then it went off of that. But we're not just walking up, saying hi, shaking hands. Let me tell you about Jesus. We were there for 2-3 hours at each place, so we might have hit at best each group might have hit at best 4 houses a day, because we split up into groups of 6 or 8. And we have three of those groups that went down, and we just bunny hopped the houses, hit both sides of the road, and go from there.
Yeah. So tell us some of those stories that you shared with me about. So, what did God allow your teams to do?
One that was really moving that I was present for was we went up talking to a woman and her girls. Her girls were young, probably 5 to 7. And she had a baby also. And people there didn't know. They might have heard of Jesus. They might have heard of God, but they didn't know what salvation was. They didn't know what sin was. They didn't know what being baptized was. They didn't know anything. And it took us a couple of days to realize, hey, we better start back at the garden and talk about sin and talk about what being saved is and what the punishment for sin is. So then we got going on that route, and we started getting some more salvations after we did that. But the story this woman and her kids, and she was she could only turn her head about this far and was having neck pain. So we asked her if we could pray for her, and we did, and then she could turn her head that far and no pain. So that was pretty cool. She was crying.
Wow.
She was crying on that healing. And then the woman that I was telling you about, that the guy went down the road on the tractor and knew some of the people. He was a Christian that went down the road, the guy on the tractor. And he had waved to one of the guys in our group who lives down there. And the guy on the tractor was a bad drinker. He was a young guy, still living with his mom, but everybody knew him as just being a mean kid. He'd get drunk, be mean to his mom, be mean to everybody, just not a nice kid. And he found Christ and quit drinking and helps everybody out and is nice to his mom, and pretty much everybody knows his story. So he stopped, came in, and he's helping us talk with this woman, but she's still, let me see, let me see what the rest of the village does.
Wow.
And one that, couple of them that moved me pretty good was went to this one. This was towards the end of the week, and walking up a driveway, walking in their front yard, and this girl takes off and she scoots behind the back of the house, and Mom said that she just didn't like people, and well, come find out that she was couldn't move her legs, and from the knees down she couldn't move them at all. Had no feeling, no nothing, and she could understand, she could hear and understand, but she couldn't speak. And her mom had been a Christian, Buddhist Christian, kept bouncing back and forth. She was in a rough, her mom was in a rough spot. She had lost 2 sons, and her husband, she wasn't really believing in too much of anything. She was just in a bad spot. And she didn't want to hear a whole lot. She'd listened to us, but she wasn't really interested in it. But her daughter was. Her daughter was 21. And ended up, we prayed for her. And the first day that we prayed for her, there was some good energy there. And she didn't have any feeling left. Still didn't have any feeling in her feet, and she couldn't move her legs. And but she did take salvation. She cut off her Buddhist bracelet.
Oh wow!
And we stopped back. Our driver from that day on always made a point to stop there and see her. And when we had kids' functions, he always made sure that she was able to get down, and brought her wheelchair and everything, brought her down. And it's either the last day or second to last day, the van stopped there, and I think there were like 12 of us. You get 12 people praying on something, there's a lot of energy going on there. You just feel it. And so we're hoping she keeps praying, and she'll start being able to wiggle some toes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So did you feel like you were up against any spiritual warfare?
We were at one. This guy was a witch doctor, and we finally got him to take salvation after talking to him for like 3 hours. We were there for 2 hours, a little over 2 hours, and group leader comes up to me. She says, "I don't want anything long, and you're short and sweet and to the point. Can you go and give this guy your testimony? Because he's saying that he's done things, we don't know what he's done, and that he doesn't think that he's worthy of being saved." And so I went up and I gave him my testimony. And then our interpreters started talking to him more and more, and he finally took salvation. His mother-in-law was one of the first in the village who took salvation, and she prays all the time, and is a very pro-Christianity Christian person. And we're thinking, yes, we got, we really got something with him taking his, given salvation. And the next morning we got a phone call from his mother-in-law saying that the enemy was not very happy. And he came back with a vengeance.
Oh, wow.
And he told his wife that that nobody in that house was practicing Christianity. If they did, he was going to burn the house down.
Wow.
So the enemy was not happy at all on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, we walked the entire grounds praying. And somebody in our group says, I'm being told to just walk and pray. So we did, and we walked the whole property. And it was a good sized property.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably.
well, you planted seeds, so
We
who
planted
knows
a lot
when
of
someone
seeds,
else
yeah.
comes back, maybe it'll be different, or maybe you'll get to go back and you'll get to see.
Yeah.
So, so what did God change in you? So you did this trip, and hopefully you came away with.
Oh yeah, I'm a lot more enthusiastic, a lot more passionate about my faith, and seeing the way that the Lord worked through for that 2 weeks and continues to work on me.
So do you hope to go on more mission trips? Is that
Oh, yeah.
in your, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to go back there or go someplace different?
I'd like to go back there, but I mean, the 8 of us got along so well that we were calling ourselves Team 6.
Team 6, what does
Team
that
6.
mean?
There was a Navy SEALs team called
Oh, okay.
SEAL Team
SEAL
6.
Team
Okay.
6. And that these guys just got along and did.
The elite.
They did their job very well.
Got it.
And so we were calling ourselves Team 6. And I would like to go back to Cambodia again, but we'll see where everybody else wants to go.
So you think you'll try to do it with them?
Yeah,
Again?
I'd like to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's all my questions. So if you have anything else.
Yeah, I want to kind of end it up with this. So what do you think is the switch that needs to be flipped for people to consider where they live as a mission field, just like Cambodia? Because it really isn't that different. Like if you think about it.
No, it's not.
But there is a for sure flip in the way that we operate, the things that we think about when we leave our current situation and go somewhere else. How do we flip the switch to say, this is your mission field, just like Cambodia? There are people who don't know. There are people that need prayed for healing. There are, opportunities to share our testimony and our story. Like, will that be easier for you now that you've went to do it here as a mission field?
I would say yes, because I feel a little bit more. I was the rookie of the group.
Yeah, for sure.
In my,
You feel
my
more
faith
equipped.
journey. Yes, I feel more equipped. My testimony, I guess, is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Especially when I go into the depth of how much I drank and I smoked and all of that, and that I just quit. We did help out some, hit some guys that were some pretty heavy drinkers, and they came to a couple of our group meetings, and they wanted to turn their lives around. But what?
I don't know that there's a real answer.
I don't know
but
either.
I just know
I
that
can
there's
just say that the Holy Spirit works on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm. People say that the Holy Spirit comes and talks to them. I'm still waiting to get that, but I get what He's wanting me to do.
Right. Yeah, and I just think we can end with this. One of the things I would encourage, just like Ricardo did, if you have not been out of your comfort zone on a mission trip somewhere, you know, like we got a team going in a couple weeks to Laurel, Kentucky. It's 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, a week and a half.
Yeah, so we got a trip that's around here, and we got people, you got people that will go to Cambodia. Whatever it is, I do think there's a time in your life that it's worth getting out of your comfort zone and seeing what God can do. Because I think sometimes it takes getting out of where we are to see the power of God.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that weird? But
Yeah. Oh,
it
yeah,
does,
without
for
a doubt.
whatever reason. Now you've seen God heal. You've seen God save. You've seen God protect. You've seen God deliver. Now the translation is, so now how do I bring it here? Because it's the same God and the same people and the same spirit and the same mission and the same everything. How do we now integrate those things? And I think there's no real answer of why we don't treat our own surroundings like a mission field, but I think going on a mission trip can help us create this as a mission
Right.
field. And that would be my encouragement for people to do. And so if you are watching or listening and you see Barry, I'm sure you sit down and have a lot more conversations and encourage people if they because it is a pretty big deal. A guy, I mean, I don't mean it's bad, but a guy your age just deciding to pick up and take off for, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm just saying it is. I mean, it's not like you're a young kid going on a mission trip in 14 days
I'm
in another country.
I'm almost 59 years old and just starting my faith journey.
That's what I'm saying. But that's cool that you're willing to take faith steps that are going to be difficult and hard and, you know, that you're willing to do it. And so I think anybody that's wondering, like, what should I not? Yeah, I'd come and talk to Barry. Let him encourage you that, you know, wherever you are in your faith journey, don't wait either. You know, just get out there and let God see, you know, what he can do from there. So any final parting words of wisdom?
No, just do it. And would I do it
there
again?
You go.
Absolutely.
Nike.
Would I do it again? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'd go into the rainforest of Brazil, or I'd go to, you know, place where you got power for an hour, just to do it, just to speak with the people and to do God's work.
Yeah. Well, good for you. That's exciting. Awesome. I'm glad you came back on and were able to share the stories. I just love, you know, when people are taking steps of faith and seeing God work and being on the mission field like that, you do think some things that get revealed to you that you just never knew, you know, but it's funny because the same God that was in Cambodia doing all those miracles is the same God that's in Columbia City and Huntington and Wabash and
well, that was what we were telling, because we, you know, have people from the States, we had people from India, we had people from Cambodia, we had people from all over the world, all praying to God. And, you know, this is a God that you can have a relationship with.
Yeah.
You can talk to him. He'll talk back to you. You'll be able to, after you've been doing this for, you know, and you believe and you accept, and he will answer your questions and answer your prayers. And, you know, if you're having trouble with something, tell him that you're having trouble with it, and he will help you through it.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, so when this comes out, make sure that you like, share, or comment. That way we can get this out on a lot of people's other feeds, because I think it's a cool story for people to be able to hear, taking faith steps, seeing the things that God does. If you're listening to the roundtable, make sure that you go to our YouTube. That way you can go on there and you can see, number one, what a great production room. You get to see the deer, you get to see all the cool stuff, and you get to see Barry, you know, so if you don't know who he is, it's an opportunity to get to see him. And again, take an opportunity to subscribe to our YouTube, because there's tons of great stories on there that you can see all the cool things that are happening in the lives of people and just how God's working in amazing ways. So thanks everybody for joining us. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.